Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to Hayes Review. Today we will be discussing season 4 of You. And now, sorry, this is my dad.
Hello.
And now
I'm
Joe.
British. I'm British.
And now Joe is in London. So we will be discussing what he's doing there. Not talking that way through the entire show.
Hello. Why
No,
not?
that would be so annoying. Okay.
Have you ever been to London?
Actually, I have for like 8 hours, and then
That's
I left.
right. We went on a little trip, and we were at London only at night.
Yes.
It was scones
Indeed.
and cakes and whatever. Anyway, we can't do it forever, so there you go. All right, so we're talking about, and I'm so honored to be on the show. I wouldn't say finally, but it's only the third one.
Yeah.
So, and I'm usually behind the scenes. So I'm usually behind that camera, run the lights, do stuff like that. So it's an honor to be here, to be with my daughter, my favorite daughter. Don't tell the other one.
Okay, so let's get into it. Okay,
Yes.
so basically recap. I guess we could do a little.
Well, let's do a recap from season one.
every season.
Okay, okay. Well,
or-
he kills a lot of people.
yeah, basically. Let's think here. So we
Yeah,
could just do. Okay, I don't know why you would be watching this review if you hadn't seen.
Right, you need to have
season
seen
1
season
and 2.
1, 2, and
And
3 already. Right.
But anyway, so at the end of season 3, Joe, to escape from Love, which is his wife / ex-wife now, he
No, not now. She's
ex-wife,
former wife.
former wife,
He's a widower now. Let's just say.
widowy or whatever.
No,
they
widower.
say.
It's like widow is woman, widower is the man.
Widower. Okay.
Yeah, he's a widower, and he had
Yes.
nothing to do with that.
No, he had nothing to do. He definitely didn't cut off his toe and bake it into a pie. He definitely didn't do that.
Who likes crunchy pie?
Yeah.
I mean, really.
That's kind of strange, you know.
Yeah. Mm.
But yeah, so basically he framed Love for his murder and then made it seem like Love committed suicide after. And he dumped off his son with
Fine guy.
the blind
Yeah.
librarian. We don't really remember
Yeah,
his name,
yeah.
but he was a really good guy.
Yes.
Hold on, let me look
And
up.
while she looks that up, so he, in that decision he made that decision because their child was supposed to be female.
Dante.
And he they have a boy, and he's scared. He doesn't want his child to be like
gonna
him.
end up like him.
And I got to tell you, that was a a tear-jerker moment when he finally, at the end of that season, decides his son is better off with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
He cannot be like me, and I 100% understand that you would, knowing that he's a bag of cats. He's crazy. The guy will
Yeah.
kill, and he doesn't want his son to be that way. And I get that.
Or involved with his life in any
Right.
way because he knows.
He's concerned he's going to turn him into another version of himself.
Yeah. And that it's not the most responsible thing to keep the baby when he's obviously not okay in the head.
And of course, he's concerned about what will happen with his wife, Love, and it sort of, I could say, it motivated him. He made those decisions based on what he thought was going to happen in the future, which, considering his history, I would say certainly makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so yes, he did all of that and escaped to London. Well, of course, in the intro of the first episode of the 4th season,
And the
he's
end
in
of third
Paris.
season, it shows him. Yeah, you see the Eiffel
You
Tower
see
in
the
the
Eiffel
background.
Tower.
Yeah, and so he, so he's going after Marianne then, because Marianne's this girl. Well, go ahead. You know more
Okay,
about
yeah. So from season 3, he becomes obsessed with this girl, this librarian who has a daughter, and long story short, he becomes obsessed with her. Love tells her, "Listen, bro, he killed your ex husband so that he could." So that you could get away from him and it would be easier for him. He really only did it for him, not
Yeah.
really for her.
Yeah, and also the murder was,
Gruesome.
well, I know, but but it was like he didn't intend to kill him. Wasn't that the mugging?
He was just trying to mug him, yeah.
Yeah, and he ends up killing him, which
No.
Is that a
He
different
did. He
person?
did go with the intention of killing him. But he made it look like a mugging because after he killed him, he took his wallet. He
right into season 4 now. Season 4, So it starts out with, of course, Joe at some English college,
Yeah.
and his name is now Jonathan Moore, and he's wearing a sweater more like this. We tried to put something on like this.
Yeah, he's
And he has
really,
a beard. He has
yeah,
a
he is
full
a full
beard. Yeah.
beard, and his hair is much longer.
Right.
And he's teaching American literature, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's literature.
It doesn't. The specifics don't really matter. But
Yeah.
anyway, he's teaching a literature class.
Yeah, so we find out he's been doing this maybe, I don't know how many
Maybe
months.
6 months.
months, maybe?
So yeah, at the beginning he's in Paris, and then all of a sudden it cuts to him in London, and we're like, okay, so
Yeah.
why was he in Paris in the first place? But you find out. Well, we'll get into it later. But
Okay, so anyway, one thing I like about this series is that they establish characters quickly, and every season, especially season 2 and 3, they immediately show you who he's probably going to kill. I mean, and it's funny because Haley
or
and
he'll
I
become obsessed with, or whatever.
right because we
So there's a party that he goes to
Oh, yes,
later,
this-
and he's
yeah.
like, "So which one of these people I hate the most?" And that's like his first
Right.
thought when he enters the room.
So they show him kind of his daily life sort of thing. They show him with his students. One of the students is kind of a standout student who plays into the little bit in the first episode, a little bit more in the second. And then after that, we see his apartment, which of course, right across the way is a woman I'd say he's interested in, but it's Malcolm, the one that was introduced
So
first.
Malcolm
Yeah.
also works with him at the university, and he showed him the flats that they stay at.
Right.
And he got one right across from him. So yeah, it's Malcolm and then his girlfriend Kate.
Right.
And he's peering through the window.
Yes, and here we go again.
And he's like, I wonder. No.
Yeah, I know,
So
but he's doing it
trying-
anyway.
Yeah, so he's trying to lessen his obsessiveness. And so he'll get into it and be like, I wonder why. Nope, no. I'm not doing that. So then,
Exactly.
yeah.
But he keeps doing it, and it's great because he's looking at he's doing the opposite of what's going on in his head. I'm not going to do that. And then he starts researching on the computer. I'm
Yeah.
not going to do this
Finding
again.
out everything
I'm not
about
doing
them.
it. And he's doing it.
Yeah.
And he's looking through the window. He sees them together. And of course, they happen to be on the same floor. And everyone just keeps their blinds open. It's amazing.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
can
and-
just see directly into everyone's
Yeah.
place.
And the party comes in after that. He gets invited to this party.
Yes, but
Yeah.
before that, so he's leaving school.
Oh, yeah, right, this is important.
And Kate, the girl that Malcolm lives with, that is his girlfriend, she is going to the car. He's following her, and all of a sudden, Kate's getting mugged and gets thrown onto the ground. And he's
They're
like,
pulling off her watch or something.
yeah, they're pulling
and-
off bracelets, watches, something like that. And he gets into her car and honks the horn, and then the muggers
Run off.
scatter.
But the whole time that's going on, he's talking
his
to himself.
head,
He said,
yeah.
"No, don't get involved
He's
because
like,
then the
not
police
my,
will come."
not my monkeys, not my circus, not my
yeah,
monkeys,
yeah,
not my circus.
but as he's saying it, he's doing
He's
it.
running. He's
And-
full on sprinting
Right.
towards
So
her.
when he gets there, she thanks him, I think, but she's got this really snarky.
She's kind of condescending
Yes.
to everyone she talks to.
and especially with him, even though she just possibly saved her life, or at least getting injured. He says, "Hey,
Don't mention my
she's
name."
calling the police. Hey, just keep me out of it. My work visa's kind of iffy or
Kinda
something like that. Yeah, so that's his way of saying,
He doesn't want to be involved in.
Right. And then is the party after that?
Yes.
Okay. So the
So
party
then Malcolm,
is
yeah.
really
So Malcolm
wild.
shows up to Jonathan's house and is like, "Listen, I heard what you did for Kate." Also, Malcolm, complete narcissistic asshole.
Oh, yes. It's all
And,
about
like
me,
the
buddy.
worst form of a narcissist you could get, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
And anyway, so Joe doesn't like him from the start. And anyway, Malcolm
yeah.
goes in there and he's like, "Listen, come to this party. You saved Kate. You deserve a night out, blah, blah, blah." And he won't take no for an answer, basically. So Joe's just
Joe
like, "Okay,
knows
whatever."
he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't like the rich crowd. He doesn't want to deal with this crap. And of course, in his head, he's saying that, but he
then
says
his mouth
yes.
says something
It's like
else.
he's thinking the opposite of what he actually says.
Yes.
Gone guy, Reese,
Yeah.
really cool guy. He's a little different from the rest. All the others seem
Self-involved.
self-obsessed and involved, and he seems to kind of be like an outsider a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He's still in the group, but he's not quite. He's more closer to Joe's attitude than he is to the other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wrote this biography
Right.
that all their friends love. And
Is he trying to be the mayor or something?
Yeah,
Or-
apparently he wants to run for Congress or
well, either
mayor.
London, so
I
mayor,
think
mayor
it is mayor
of London, I guess. I think
Yeah.
they are in London. But the party, one thing I love about how they shoot this, how they write it, is that how Joe's comments are just hysterically funny. The entire time he's smiling, nodding, saying, I hate these people, please get me out of here, shoot me, kill me now.
Exactly.
The whole time.
I mentioned earlier, whenever Kate is bringing him through to meet everybody, he's like, which one of these people will I hate the most? Let's see.
Which one do I want to, yeah.
And so from what I can remember, there is Simon, and he's the artist, and he's this Asian guy.
Asian guy, right. He's always like brooding.
He's always
and just
brooding,
like this all the
like
time.
always,
let
like
me-
just looks pissed.
One of the things
most
is
of the
kill,
time.
kill one of them. He says something, I have too many friends. I've got to kill them off before something.
to
and we're like,
make room for you,
what?
to make room for Joe.
And that I thought we all
And
thought
it was
that was
just
some
so
sort of
monotone
omen. But
and
no,
like
yeah.
he was just so like I don't know what the word is. Like he didn't have a problem saying that. Like it was just like something he says all the time.
But it was also I thought of it as an omen. Okay, so someone's going to die right away, which of course we know in the show people die. But when he said that, I thought that indicated that he knew people. I don't know. But it was weird to have somebody say, "Kill one of my friends." You have to kill a friend of mine to make space for a new friend. And we're like, what? Okay. But this guy, seriously, very negative, always brooding. He always he looks at people like, you're bugging me just by existing. And that stuck-up artist attitude is what I'd call it.
Yeah.
So what's next?
He has a heart-to-heart with Reese.
Yeah.
And is like where he... Oh, well, yeah, in the first scene, whenever he's at the university, one of the student, Nadia, she hands him his biography, and he reads it, and then that's what they talk about.
Right, he flips
And
over and
then-
sees the back cover, which has a picture of Reese.
Yeah. So then after Reese leaves, because he has to go somewhere, Joe gets up, and he's like, okay, screw this. I'm not waiting for Malcolm anymore. I want to go home.
That's
And
when he gets
then-
intercepted.
Yes,
yeah.
that's when he gets intercepted, and Phoebe hands him a
What's it-
shot of absinthe.
Okay, because I kept saying it right, absinthe.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not going to drink it, I'm not going to drink it, and then he drinks.
Yeah.
And then he drinks another one.
Yeah.
And I thought, I mean, Haley, I don't drink that, but I don't know if you've ever had it. What I thought it was it was laced with something. It wasn't just alcohol, but is it?
Let's
I
look
mean,
it
if
up,
it's,
shall we?
there we go, she's looking. If it's super strong alcohol, it really had an effect. And it's not like this guy's never drank before, but he is.
It's like really strong.
Right. He drinks this. They show
Okay.
kind of a montage of party stuff, but then he's talking with
Okay,
somebody.
yeah. So it ranges from 45% to 74%
Okay,
alcohol.
so it's pretty strong, but nothing else mixed
And it's
in.
derived from several plants, including the flowers and leaves of Artemisia absinthium,
Okay, and that's what
together with green anise, sweet fennel, and other medicinal and culinary herbs.
Okay, but it's not drugs.
No.
Okay, but
Might
anyway.
as well be, though.
Yeah, well, the way he responded to it, I'm wondering if I ever want to drink that myself. I've never been
No,
offered
I've
it, but
been warned to stay away from absinthe.
okay. Well, good. Okay, now after that episode, or after what you saw there, I'm pretty sure you don't want to. But he then all of a sudden they cut after the montage of him drinking.
And, yeah, and then
all of a sudden he's in the middle of a conversation with somebody, and he's
Simon's
wearing
sister.
and he's wearing some kind of shawl that's all multicolored, like fur. And
It's like a fur
he's like,
coat.
"What am I doing? Where
Yeah.
am I?"
Yeah.
And then
And then
we-
it cuts again,
Yeah.
and he's on the couch with Phoebe and Kate, and Phoebe's crying, and he's looking for his phone. He can't find his phone.
yeah, he said, "Where's my phone?" Right.
And then Malcolm comes around the corner and is like, hey, we need to get this guy home, talking about Joe. And then
Jonathan,
him and Malcolm get back home. Malcolm gets him all the way home, puts him on the couch. And then Joe wakes up in the morning, and he's like, what the hell happened last night?
He just wakes up on the couch. No one else is there. Then he's like groggy.
He's making his cup of Joe.
Yeah, he goes over to the kitchen, and there's a body laying. We have I guess it's on the table. What was on the? It was on
It's
the
on
table.
like a kitchen table, yeah.
There's a body laying on the table with a kitchen knife sticking out right here, about right here. And immediately, of course, Haley and I think he killed this guy.
Yeah.
Obviously,
And like
I mean,
maybe
and-
he said something bad, and he was
yeah,
blacked
there's
out,
a
so he didn't really
kitchen
care.
knife sticking out of his chest, laying on there, and he walks over there, and he's like,
did I do
oh my
this?
gosh,
I don't
sure,
remember
you know.
doing this.
So, of course, knowing his MO, he immediately figures out a way to get the body out. And
Oh, and also
Yeah.
he notices that his pinky is missing.
Yeah,
He had a ring on his pinky.
right, it's cut off right here, but it also looks burned. Like they cut here and it's burned
it's, like,
from
cauterized.
here. Yeah, they cauterized. So he's like, why would I do that? So he's asking himself these
And he's
questions.
like, where would I put a pinky?
Yeah, where would I put a pinky?
Yeah.
And so this is what's confused, because for us at first we're like, okay, well, he just did something weird, not his usual MO. But
Yeah.
then, okay, go ahead, because I don't want to. So then he tries to, immediately, he puts his costume on, his black hat. Oh, my hair's sticking out. His black hat, his outfit, and then rolls the body up in an extra rug, and takes it out to Malcolm's. He doesn't have a car. Somebody else's car.
Okay,
We're
yeah.
not sure
So
whose
he
car that
refers
was.
to this person as the something professor.
Yeah. And he shoves in this body into the small little
It's a really small car.
trunk. And he just starts driving toward, I guess he's guessing that he's going to find a place to dispose of the
dispose of
body.
it.
Gets out
He
there.
finds a construction
wood shop.
wood
Yeah.
shop, something like that. And he sees the guy that works there walking out, and he says,
I'm going to the
I'm
game."
going to the game. I'm going to the pub. I'll be there for the second half."
Yeah. So
And
he puts,
So he has around 45 minutes to get rid of
but
this body.
smartly, he finds the game, puts it on his phone, and has the game in the background, so he knows exactly when this guy's probably going to come back. And a gruesome scene here of cutting the body into pieces. And also a nice shot of this guy's junk, which is funny because he takes this thing and puts it over it like a
Yeah.
little bat. And we're like, okay, thanks for that gratuitous shot. Then he cuts them all up, bags him. And of course, in this whole time, he's talking to himself. He's got this dialogue going. And he takes it, tosses it about, I think early morning, he's tossing the body parts into a river, and he's probably has 8 or 9, maybe 10 bags of body parts tossing it.
And then the next morning, he runs into Kate at the university, and she's like, "Okay, by the way, Phoebe wants you to come to this party tonight." And he's like,
He's
"Why?"
like really not wanting to go.
And
again.
yeah, of course he doesn't, because he doesn't really like these people anyway. But Kate's like, "Well, apparently Phoebe has taken a liking to you, so you better show up." Blah blah blah. He's like, "Okay, fine, whatever."
And her attitude is so, like, I hate you.
Yeah,
sort of
but
thing.
then invites you to stuff.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, well, she's inviting because Phoebe's
Because Phoebe,
insisting.
yeah.
But it's so weird how she's so negative.
And she
just
said
hates
she would. Well,
him.
she had this whole thing where she was like, she'd rather him see her as a bitch or something.
Yeah,
instead
yeah,
of,
and it was kind of a strange moment. Where, like,
and she was like, and
okay.
I think he was like, I
know
don't
if I
know
like you
whether to be
more.
impressed or scared or
yeah,
something
well,
like
I mean,
that.
they also said he was. Yeah, I don't know if I like you or hate you more now.
Yeah.
And I think he probably likes her more. And then that's when he gets these weird texts.
Yeah, no,
Not yet,
after the party, or no, before the party.
because they say, "Hey, I know."
Yeah, so he gets
Thanks
he gets a text on this weird app called like Evanescence or something like that.
And it immediately
it's-
deletes your message. And also, that's when we go back to him not having his phone. Somebody took his phone, put that app on it, then gave it back to him. We don't know who it is.
Yep. And so this person, guess what they text first whenever he gets that first message? It's "Hello, you," and he's just like, "Who is this?"
Yeah.
And then
And he's like, "When did this app get on my phone?"
yeah, he's like, "Why do I have this app on my phone?" And yeah, it's "Hello, you," and then I don't know how, or I mean, it's something about Malcolm's body. It was like, I didn't expect.
I didn't think.
Thank you for disposing of his.
Yeah, thanks for taking care of that problem or whatever. And he's like,
He's like, so I didn't do it.
Immediately he's thinking, "Holy crap, I didn't kill him." And also, one thing that you notice when he wakes up in that morning, there's no blood on his hands. There's blood everywhere on the kitchen table, the knife, the shirt. There's no blood on him at all.
Nope.
And so I didn't even think about that until that moment, which was a really nice surprise. He didn't do it. But then that opens up a whole new door of possibilities.
Because yes,
Whodunit. Yeah.
it's a very whodunit. Because not everyone likes Malcolm in the group. I think
No.
realistically, Kate is the only one who, actually likes him. Like I think most of his friends just tolerate him because he's rich.
Well, and also, obviously she likes him because they live together and that's her boyfriend. And also there's hints along the way that she does close to him, when they're at the school, at the college, she's on the phone. Malcolm, I don't know where you are, but you need to get back to me. But she's always doing it within earshot of Jonathan, of Joe. And he's saying, well, then she didn't
Well,
kill him.
she might be really smart,
Right.
and have set this up, or she really didn't kill him.
Yeah, and with her at it, we honestly have no idea. I can't tell.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about this. They're setting it up where they might lean toward a certain person, but all of a sudden you're going, wait a minute, this other person did this or did that. And this app is really interesting because he gets more and more messages, and he kind of goes
as
into
soon
panic
as-
mode.
Yeah.
Where he's trying to figure out, he's looking all around like, who's
Yeah, so he
texting
gets
me?
invited
Oh, I
to
like
this-
your sweater. And he's like, what?
Yeah. So he gets invited to this dinner party with all of the people, the same
Right.
people from that night, last night. And he's just looking around the room being like, so many of these people have motive to do this.
Right.
But
Yeah, and the thing is, during that, this is when we start hearing all these people talking negatively about him. And I'm all like, wait, this person has a motive. I mean, it's like everybody in the room says something. We're like, what the heck is going on here? After the body's gone, he goes back to that same party area from the first party.
yes, to return the sweater thing,
Re-
the fur.
Yeah, to return the fur, and Reese is there. And Reese has this really strange conversation with him where he's saying, I see that you've had a difficult life and that you could do things that are dangerous or something. I'm not sure what the terms are, but I remember thinking, how's this guy
And they
seeing
just
through
seem
him?
eerily similar.
Yes, and had me very concerned because I'm like, wait, you know this guy for maybe a few hours. You partied with him. It's the next morning. You're still at the bar, or you just showed up
Yeah,
there
I
again?
think he went to his interview or whatever and then
Yeah.
came back to the
Oh,
bar.
that's right. He was setting up for an interview for his book. He's got a book tour, I think. Book tour?
Or an interview.
About being mayor or running for mayor. Okay.
Something like
but
that.
anyway, this conversation is really strange. And even Joe is thinking, in his inner monologue, why is he saying this? What's going on? And it makes me, and then it throws us another kind of twist into it. Like, does this guy know who Joe is? Jonathan being Joe. Or is he just really opening up to him with his own issues? I don't know. But it throws a nice, interesting twist to it, which I'm hoping will be played out later.
Yeah.
So the lot's still going on, but the main thing is he gets back from that dinner party where they're all talking negatively about Malcolm. Most of them are. I actually think all of them are. And he comes in and sees a black envelope that someone had slid in his under his door, and it has a little
You've
QR
been invited
code.
to
Yeah.
a night to die for.
Yeah, and he scans it and then sees it's a party, looks
It's
it up.
a Simon's art gallery
Right,
opening.
the brooding artist guy, and he again is like, why is this happening? He's like, he doesn't want to go. But go ahead.
But then, he also gets into he understands now that this is a whodunit because he obviously know it wasn't him that killed Malcolm.
Right.
And so he has to go to this opening because he wants to know more about these people.
But first he goes to the library.
Yes,
Runs
and
into that
he
student.
studies up on whodunits.
Right, and it's funny, this girl, I can't remember. her
Nadia.
name. Nadia, okay.
His student.
Sees that he's reading these cheesy whodunit novels, like Agatha Christie type stuff. And, I kind of compared it while we were watching it to Glass Onion, Knives Out sort of thing. She just gives him this quick rundown, and he
jots down everything.
Yeah, and he's like, okay. And then so he starts, like he's in a whodunit. Joe is sitting at a coffee table at a shop somewhere in London, right? Mm-hmm. Right. And the guy sits down and just jumps right into it and said, hey.
He's like, Joe Quinn Goldberg.
Yeah,
He's
he's like, oh, crap.
He's like, my past has followed me.
Yeah. And the guy just says, look, I was hired by the Quinn family to kill you.
So he's more of a PI/assassin.
Yeah. So PI until he needs to kill someone.
Yeah.
And then we're like, wait, you're telling him you're here to kill him. How's this going to work?
And then he says, I'm tired of killing people. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, I want to get out of
And
this.
then
Yeah, I'm done.
He's like, Jonathan Moore actually suits you. Gives him like a bunch of identification, says to make sure that he doesn't mess up, he doesn't end up in the public eye, blah, blah, blah. But then he says, but Marianne knows who you are. And
Right.
so...
Yeah, and so they show a flashback
knows
of
you're
how
alive. She knows you're alive.
she knows he's alive because they show a flashback where he is in France. It looks like Paris because there's the Eiffel Tower. He's going, looking at, he knows she went there, and looking at all these artists.
In season 3, well, he doesn't know that she went there. He was just going off of a hunch. That's how crazy he is. Because Marianne and Juliet had always talked about going to Paris together, and he knew that. And so he, on that hunch, he went to Paris to find her. So he goes to all of these art galleries, and he says for weeks, for months, he goes to all of these art galleries, all of these art showings, blah, 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 trying to find her. And he finally does.
Yeah. And they do this over several flashbacks stuck into the episode.
Yeah, so he finds her painting and is like, how can I
knows
get a
that's
hold?
her. He knows that's his daughter, her daughter.
Yeah, he knows exactly how she paints her.
Always has her
art.
daughter in it, like as a ballerina or floating in the air or something.
Yeah.
Her style.
So then he asks the vendor, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, where can I get more from this artist? I really like this artist. And so she gives him her email and also tells him that she will be at a art opening in London or some art.
So he's like, catching a flight.
Yeah, so he's like, okay, off to London.
Yeah, hello,
and
mate.
then, so he
No
follows
more
her to
French
London,
accent.
and then it's more weeks and weeks and weeks go by, and then he finally sees her just shopping on just a street market.
Yeah, like a street market type thing.
Yeah.
Kind of stereotypical street market.
Yeah.
He sees her first, and of course he has his little monologue talking about,
I finally found you, blah, blah, blah.
Her hair is completely different. She looks different. And then she sees him, freaks out, and runs.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Joe, being the freak that he is, runs after her when he could have just let her go.
Yeah. And they land, and of course, she runs into a vacant building.
Yeah, we're like, girl, you were in public. Like, nothing could have happened in public.
Right. Why didn't she stay in public? Does she think he's going to kill her publicly? Well,
I
let's go to
I
a little.
wouldn't expect anything less from him.
Yeah, but let's go to
an abandoned warehouse.
building. I wonder what could happen there. Come on. Not the smartest thing to do.
He waits for her, and they finally have their moment where they talk, and she takes out a knife. He, aggressively grabs her arm and, makes her drop
the knife
it.
out, which was probably a good idea.
Yeah, but she knows that he killed Ryan, and she's like, Love told me everything. You killed Ryan. I know you did. And he's like, well, he was after your child.
I was
blah, blah,
protecting
blah.
you and your child.
Yeah. And then she's like, well, if you're not, or I mean, it was like, well, since Love is dead, you're the one who killed her, weren't you? Blah, 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 all this stuff.
And then he tried to say she was trying to kill me. It's kind of like a recap of season 3, a little bit at the end there.
He says, I'm a good guy now, and I want to prove it to you. So then he backs up against the wall and lets her go, and she picks up her knife and goes down the stairs.
Same thing.
Yeah, whatever.
But basically showing her he's not going to be
a better guy.
I'm not killing you. It's not about that. Pick up the knife. Go. All right.
Yeah.
I thought he handed it back. I guess I'm thinking.
Anyway, flash forward. The PI was outside of that building, and Joe didn't see him, but we see him as the audience.
That's the scene that I saw. Okay. And he's like, yep.
So then, the PI is basically like, either you kill Marianne or I kill you, basically.
Mm-hmm. And
because she's the only one who really knows he's alive.
Right. And see, that's how the PI found him, was following Marianne, sticking with her until he showed up. Mm-hmm. Which, good way to do it. But I don't understand this guy's motivation. I still don't understand. He's a killer, and he's just decided now to not do it anymore. I think there's something.
Must have been Joe's lucky day.
Yeah, I mean, come on. There's got to be something else going on. And then.
So anyway, yes, that whole thing. Whenever his student Nadia is like, there are no coincidences, then he thinks back and he's like, why was Elliot here? Why did he give me that documentation? Why did he look out for me? That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So then he calls Elliot and he's like, why did you frame me for Malcolm's murder? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I didn't do that. Mm-hmm. And then he ends up breaking his phone.
Right. But the thing is, before that, Joe, at the train station, goes up to Marianne. Someone bumps her. Then he pulls off her necklace, which identifies
It's a locket.
her. A locket with a picture of her daughter in it, I
Mm-hmm.
think. And he takes a picture of it in his hand, and he sends it to the guy, to
Elliot.
Elliot first, saying, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And then later sending that. But it's weird, Elliot is at, it looks like he's in a monastery. I don't know, there's a huge mountain behind him
Yeah.
in his video call. And he's like, damn it, now I got to throw out my phone because I don't want you track, whatever. So it's still kind of not clear if he's somehow involved, which I don't understand what his motivation would be to be involved because he's done. It's just strange.
Yeah.
And then he says, damn it, I got to throw out my phone because I don't, and then that's it.
Yeah, and then after that call, he receives more texts from this.
Yeah. And that's when he gets
Evanescence app.
paranoid and starts looking around.
Yeah, so
and-
it says, you look so good in that brown jacket.
and that's what- yeah.
And I also know that your name isn't Jonathan Moore. Who are you? And he's like, I won't
Oh,
let you find
crap.
out or something.
yeah,
Like Joe is like, I'm not going to give you the chance to find it out.
Gallery's starting up. Of course, there's more of these conversations that kind of come into the mix as they're talking about his art. This girl walks in. Oh, okay. So when Jonathan gets into the party, he goes in the back door. He doesn't want to have to bother with going through the social entrance stuff. And there's this woman going in the back. She punches in the code. And he says, hey, can you let me in here? I just don't want to have to go through there. And he glances down, sees an ID on her badge, and it says something about a hostel, 157 hostel or something. And I thought at first it was the ID for the place, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. But it was just a little key to what's happening later. So he gets in there with her. He goes up. He finds the social situation, and then all of a sudden that same girl shows up with a bucket of paint, splashes it on these weird cat paintings.
Then splashes on the canvases,
Mm-hmm.
and it gets all over Simon and Kate.
Kate,
the
yeah.
paint does. And she's like, why don't you tell everyone that you're a fake? Yeah.
When
Then she
Simon
gets
walks
dragged
up,
out.
yeah, Simon walks up and says, "It's now finished." Like this was a plan.
Like it was part of.
and everyone believes him in this.
Yeah.
It's so funny, but they're like, "Oh,
They're like, "Oh, jolly good
it's
show,
wonderful!"
jolly good show.
And splashing red paint on it.
Yeah.
And after that, Kate is covered with paint. Jonathan goes to Kate and says, "Hey, this woman let me in. I know where she is. She's got the ID thing."
Oh yeah.
They
So
go off
Kate
together.
is the art gallery manager.
Right. She's in charge of setting up and curating this art.
Yeah.
And so, of course, Kate just does not like Jonathan.
Let's just refer to him as Joe.
And they go figure out where Hostel 157 is. They go in, they confront her, and essentially they find out that she did this art. That she's an apprentice.
She is the actual artist.
How he got back?
Gets back somehow
Yeah.
to the art gallery.
And he's waiting outside. And
Falls asleep.
his plan was what? What was his plan?
to
at that
wait for
point?
Simon to leave.
Yeah, and he was going to confront Simon about it. What happened?
So then he falls asleep on the bench outside, and it cuts to Simon
we see a boot
with
and a
party
leg.
favors.
Yeah.
And and someone walks into the room with, we don't see their face, but we see that they
There's like a leg and a hand.
boot and then a hand with a glove on it.
And they made it so you could not-
He turns around like he knows this person,
Yeah.
and he's like, "What are you doing?"
Right, and
here?"
it's like a POV shot from
Just
the
him.
killer's point of view. Oh, hey, what are you doing? It's one of those generic, hey, what are you doing here? You don't have no idea if male or
and then
female.
he gets grabbed.
And then, grabbed. And then the next time we see him, he's stabbed in
Yep,
the
same thing. It's like the
heart.
same thing, and then
Yeah.
also part of his ear is missing.
Yeah, they cut off his ear like he's Van Gogh.
Yeah.
But he
But he
stabbed
had an
also
earring, too.
with a kitchen knife.
Yeah.
The same type of kitchen knife that was used to kill Malcolm.
Yep.
Which is weird to think that you found a kitchen knife at an art gallery, so they must have brought it with them. Anyway, so Joe is sleeping. The sirens come. He wakes up. What the heck's going on? And sees that then the police show up, and I forget what Joe runs in there to see it.
And he runs in. He's like, "I have about 45 seconds before the cops show up." And
Yeah, so
then
he quickly looks
sees
around.
Simon like slumped in the chair with the knife through his heart,
Mm-hmm.
and then his earring is missing. Well, his,
Right, his
whole
whole ear-
ear
his
is
whole left-
like, it was like someone
Yeah, left ear is
completely
missing.
chopped it off.
Yeah, and immediately I say it's like Van Gogh because he's an artist and they're trying to make. But
They're
what
tr- like, yeah.
and what I think is going to happen. This is my guess. Is that missing finger and that missing ear are going to show up with someone to frame them.
Yep.
To frame them, and whoever it is that they're framing, it's going to just be like in a little box, like what Joe does. in a little box of collectibles from his murders or her murders. We don't know, but that's what I love about this part right now. Is something that that Haley and I were talking about before. Is that there's a certain pattern that this thing comes through. This, like season 3, we were talking about this earlier. I think that's my favorite season so far because there's twists in there that are amazing. Yes, a lot of people get
and
killed.
such
Surprises.
good casting too.
Oh, absolutely. But the part at the end where he goes to save his son by getting the son away from him, and then right now they're playing this off in a different way than the first 2 seasons. We're getting surprises here and changes that I was getting concerned. Oh, this is going to be boring. It's the same thing they did before. No, it's not. And I can't. I mean, there's only 3 more episodes up right now. We haven't watched them, and that's the first half. Second half comes out in a few weeks. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing the rest because
we should.
There's surprises at the end.
We should give our not estimations, but like assumptions,
no,
guesses.
our guesses. What do you call it? Predictions.
Predictions
for who. And
Reese seems a little sus to me.
Yeah. There's something
some
going
suspect
on.
Because he's kind of, like you said, an outsider, like doesn't really belong. And
his comments.
He knows a little too much about Joe already.
I mean, he's talking.
He's like, "Oh, you're damaged. You seem dangerous.
Yes.
You can do dangerous things."
And then Joe's like, "What the heck's he saying? How
Yeah.
does he know this stuff?" And that is weird. So he's on my list, top of the list. But that's what you do in these whodunits.
So then he goes back home and goes into his his flat, and he's walking around still having that monologue in his head, and then you see in the background a lot of pages on his wall.
Right.
And so he turns around and he's like,
"Oh my gosh, this is bad."
And it's like
this is bad.
all of his kills connected. It's like Peach, Beck, Love.
Everyone from previous seasons, and literally like this entire wall.
It's
covered
his entire wall. Yeah.
From top to bottom, and printed
and it's
on
like,
8.5 by 11
and then he
sheets
gets
of
the
paper.
text that it says, "I know who you are,
Yeah.
Joe Goldberg."
And they've highlighted stuff, circled stuff, all these things, and he's like, "I'm screwed."
Oh,
yeah. And then is that the end of the episode? Did
Yes.
I cut there? And I gotta tell you guys, when Haley asked me to watch this and be on the show too, I was hoping it was going to be good. I was hoping actually it would be terrible so I could tear it apart, but I honestly can't. It's just like when
and
you can't,
season 1, just like established everything. Season 2, was still good, but kind of like I don't know what I don't want to drag the show, but I'm just saying like season 3 was like the best in my opinion. The best.
They threw
season.
in so many twists. The lock room, the couple that they lock in there, Sherry and Carrie are just, and the scene.
And it's so funny. So that is the other thing about
yeah.
season 3 is that it's so hilarious.
Yes, when he goes off with his guys into the forest, we're like,
and they
is
have
this
their
going to be like
man
some
night
kind
or
of
whatever.
huge gay orgy? I mean,
Yeah.
he's like going, what's going to happen? Do I have to take my clothes off? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going. But then, I mean, that's one thing Haley and I were talking about. It's like they brought in so much humor, dark humor. And it's hilarious.
We aren't that far into season 4 yet,
Yeah.
but I gotta say season 3 is a lot funnier.
Yeah, so far. Now, from what I can see, there's 10 episodes, I think. 5 in the first batch, and then I think there's 5 in the second batch. So we're only 2 episodes in. We had so much to talk about here. The way they're mixing in these things that have happened in the past to him to what's happening today in the show is great because you really understand what's going on and why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
What I like about this whodunit is still wide open. We know it's not Simon, and it's interesting in the show they talk about how in a whodunit they kill the person that had the most motivation.
Second. Like
The second person they kill.
Yeah.
And they say it that way because it's like he had a reason to kill too because Malcolm was covering up for him. And that's what we find out. There's like the circle of deceit involved in the art.
Yeah.
And that Malcolm knew and he was going to turn him in or blackmail him, and then he's dead. And then Simon's dead, which you're like, wait a minute. He'd been the one that would have killed the guy because he had the most to lose.
He had the most motive. But we will be back later with episode 3 and 4. So, signing out.
Signing out.